Okay, we're looking at the first function worksheet, Fun 1, and these are financial functions. So we invest $25,000 and leave it in the bank without adding anything to it at 8% compounded quarterly. At the end of each quarter for 10 years, how much money will we have at the end of 10 years? Put the data in the appropriate cells and then compute the answer. Okay. Well, our investment amount is $25,000. Our regular payment is 0. We're not going to add anything to it. The annual rate is 8.00%. Number of years is 10. Periods per year is 4. This is quarterly. Rate per period would be the annual rate divided by the number of periods. 8% divided by 4 is 2%. Total number of periods is going to be the number of years times number of periods per year. So we get 40 for that. And we're doing at the end of each quarter, which is a 0. And I want to know what I'm going to have at the end. If you're trying to find out what you have at the end, that's going to be the future value function. So let's go to our formulas and go to financial, and let's pick future value. And the rate is always the rate per period. That's this number here. Number of periods is this. The payment is always minus, although we'll get the same answer in this particular case because it's 0. Present value is how much money I've already put in the bank, so it's like the sum of a bunch of payments. And if payments are negative, then the sum of a bunch of payments will also be negative. And the type is going to be beginning or end, and click on OK. And at the end of that time, we'll have $55,200.99. Okay, we're going to borrow $30,000. And we're going to pay off the loan. That's almost always 0. The annual rate is 10%. Number of years is 10 years. Periods per year is 12. We're doing monthly payments. The rate per period is going to be the annual rate divided by the periods per year. 10% divided by 12 is 0.83%. Number of periods is going to be years times periods per year, 120. Doing it at the end of the month, that's a 0. What's your payment going to be? That's going to be the payment function. Scroll down to the P's here, and PMT. The rate again is the rate per period, the number of periods. Present value with a loan is positive. It's money that you have right now. Future value is this, and the type is this, and click on OK, and it looks like our payment's going to be $396.45. And that's in red because it's negative, and payments are always negative. If you currently have $50,000, that would be our present value. I'm going to save $200 every month, monthly savings. And our goal is $200,000. And that's 10 years from now. We're going to add at the end of the month, that's going to be 0, and it's going to be monthly, so it's going to be 12 periods per year. Number of periods is going to be the number of years, 10 times periods per year, 12, it's going to be 120. And the rate function gives you the rate per period, which in this case is monthly rate. We're going to have to multiply it by 12 to get the annual rate. So let's go, we're going to be doing the rate function here. And the number of periods is this. The payment is always minus, so let's put our minus sign in. And it's this. Our present value in a savings problem is money that we've already taken to the bank, so that's going to be negative. Future value is 200,000. The type is going to be 0. Click on OK. And it's going to be a little less than 1% per month, but the annual rate is what we want. It's going to be the rate per month times the number of months in a year, so it's going to be 11.4%. Take a look at fun number 2. Okay. Column H, put a formula that will cause the value true to appear if any salesman has reached a quota of 600 or more for any one of the 3 months. Any means or, so he's going to be doing logical functions here. If we want true or false, we're doing logical. So or is if the January is greater than or equal to 600, or February is greater than or equal to 600, or March, whoops, didn't move down to the next cell, or March is greater than or equal to 600. If any one of those three things is true, they met their quota at least once. Okay? And most of them met it at least once. Now, column I want to know if they reach the quota all 3 months. Okay? So that's going to be an and. And go to our logical group here, and the first test is D2 greater than or equal to 600, E2 greater than or equal to 600, F2 greater than or equal to 600, and okay, they're going to have to do it all 3 months in order for true to appear over here, and it looks like there's only one guy that had 600 or more every single month. In E19 down here, put this sum of the sales data right here. Okay, so that's going to be a sum function, and it's trying to just do February, but I can fix that by just dragging the mouse over all three of them. Hit enter. Smallest is going to be the min function, and again it's picking the wrong stuff, but all I got to do is drag the mouse over the right stuff and hit enter when I'm done. Largest is going to be the max function, and again just drag the mouse over those yellow numbers, hit enter, and the average is going to be the average function. Whoops, wrong button there. There we go. And I want the average of all of those, and hit enter, and the average is 524. Database, sorting and filtering and pivot tables. Sort the data in decreasing order by the number of shares owned. If they have the same number of shares, sort them alphabetically. So we're sorting on 2 fields. Sorting is on the data tab. If you want to do it on 2 fields, click on the sort button. And first I want to sort by number of shares. That would be column C. And I want them decreasing, so that would be largest to smallest. And if they have the same number of shares, then I want them by stock name, A to Z. Click on OK, and let's check it out. These all have 2,000, and they're in alphabetical order. These have 1,500, they're in alphabetical order. These have 1,000, they're all in alphabetical order. So that's good. Database number 2, create a filter. Click in the data, click on your filter button. Displays only those stocks that have a profit of $5,000 or more. So profit would be right here, and it says you have to use a rule. You can't just check them off. So 5,000 or more would be greater than or equal to 5,000. And it looks like we've got 6 of 29. DB3, create a filter that displays all stocks with the value in the category column as S or P. So that's this column here. And I'm going to do a filter again. And when we're testing for equality, you just do the check boxes. And I want S or P. Click on OK. And that takes care of that one. DB number 4. Use a pivot table to determine the total value of each stock category. So there are 4 categories over here, and I want the total of each one. Let's go to our insert, and here's where you do your pivot table. And you can usually take the defaults here if you start out with a cursor in the data. And I want category. And I forgot what I wanted here. Let's go back and do a check. It is total current value. That would be G here. Okay, so let's do total current value. And by default it does the sum. If I want to make that look a little nicer, I can just go up here and do that. And let's go to that, takes care of that. Let's go to DB4. Whoops, we just did that. Let's go to DB5. Here we need to use an advanced filter to determine which stocks in the S or H category have a total current value of 10,000 or more. So the category is going to be S or it's going to be H, and since I'm doing OR, they have to go on separate lines. And the total current value, this number here, has to be greater than or equal to 10,000, and I have to say that both times. So there's 2 rules connected by OR. First rule is S and greater than or equal to 10,000. The second rule is H and greater or equal to 10,000. Okay, so that's the rule for your advanced filter. And then we need some formulas to count the number of companies for which that is true. So that's going to be data, formulas, and these do not have a book. So this is the one where we have to click on the FX here, and we want database functions. And what I want to do is I want to count. Let's do count A. That'll count the field regardless of whether it's a numeric field or a text field. So I want to count A. My database is going to be all of my data over here. And the field, it doesn't matter which field I count, I'll just count the first one. And the criteria is this stuff up here. Make sure you include the headings and make sure you include both rows, but nothing more. Click on OK. And it looks like there are 12 stocks in the S or H category that also have a value that's 10,000 or more. Put a formula to determine the total number of shares in the S or H category. So now we're adding up the shares. This will be a sum, dsum. So let's go and scroll down here, and dsum is what we want. And the only thing that's changed on all three of these is going to be the name of the function we use. The database is still going to be this stuff here. And the field, the field will change as well. I want the total number of shares. That would be column 3. And the criteria is going to be the same. Click on OK. And so there are 12,950 shares. And then the last thing is put a formula to determine the highest current total values. That'd be D max, using the same database, same criteria. So highest current total value. So database Dmax is the highest. Our database is this stuff over here. Our field is that's column 7. And it's easier to write than putting in the entire name of the field. And the criteria again is the same criteria up here. Click on OK. And it looks like the highest one is 66,187. If I scroll through here, that must be this one right here. It's in the H category, and this number is that the one I was looking at? Total current value is greater or equal to 10,000, obviously. And we've been going about 13 minutes now. We'll stop here, and we'll do the rest of the practice test and a third video.